everyone, and welcome back to Radio Geonosis, where we talk about Star Wars from a certain point of view. I'm Angie.
Hey man, what's up, guys?
I'm Emma.
And we got Emma back. I think she's going to be a permanent resident here. I kind of like that.
Yay.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year, everybody.
Happy New Year.
Yeah. All right, so we're going to go right to hot happenings for this week. And then we're going to hit our episode is episode 40. Woo! And it's going to be top 10, just like a year in review, but it's just going to be like different things about Star Wars that we like. Top 10 of whatever in Star Wars.
Yes.
But before we do that, let's get to those hot happenings. There was so much talk about a teaser that never happened.
Oh yeah.
It never happened. So next time, I'm not going to report on that until there really is one.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. You didn't let anyone down, though.
Yeah, I let myself down.
Oh, it's okay. Man. It's
There's
okay.
so much hype.
I know. And then just nothing. Absolutely nothing. All right. So what was released was really cool. A Star Wars fan film, Shards of the Past. And it's getting pretty good reviews. I've never seen any. I'm never watched any fan films, which is terrible. But I'm going to start doing it now. And I was supposed to go to this movie reveal, in LA, but I couldn't go because I was at the Ronald McDonald House doing the holiday party at the Great Wolf's Lodge. So I was unable to go to this, and I was kind of sad because my friend Dupree was in it, and my friend John was in it, and my friend Jeremy was in it.
A lot of friends.
Yeah, I had a lot of friends. So I did watch it on YouTube, and I posted it on our Radio Geonosis page. So Dupree Jones is the Vader in the movie, and he did a great job. John is a stormtrooper, and then Jeremy is one of the officers.
That's cool.
One of the Imperial
That's
officers.
cool.
So that's really
dope.
cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. So Disney CEO has said the Star Wars movies will be slowed down and will also Rian Johnson's movie projects for any new Star Wars movies has been placed on the back burner or canceled.
So it's,
Oh wow.
I say yay to that.
I think that's good. I think that's actually really good. They needed to slow
and
down.
why yay? Why yay?
Because I don't like The Last Jedi.
Of course you don't. I asked that on purpose, actually.
Yeah, because you know how I feel about that.
Yeah,
I just think I'm not someone who can write movies. I'm not someone who knows how to make movies. I just think that this movie put a bad taste in a lot of people's mouths.
It did.
I think it didn't answer any questions. People died in it. There were scenes that were unnecessary. They had
So much unnecessary.
Yeah, there was so much unnecessary stuff that went on, and especially, with certain deaths. It's like you're asking yourself, well, why was that needed?
Yeah.
Too much character developments that never went anywhere.
Yeah, I have to agree with you on that. I really hated it. I hated the fact that nothing happened with Rey. We found nothing out on Snoke. Mm-hmm. The Canto Bight scene was a waste of time. Luke was a mess, a mental mess, and I just really am not a big fan of that movie.
Yeah.
Agreed.
Aaron liked
It was
it.
horrible. You liked it?
No, it's not. It's not that I liked it. I just don't dislike it as passionately as Angie does.
I really dislike it too.
Or now as you do. I just dislike, I just don't dislike it that passion. But it's it has its things about it that I don't like for sure.
The graphics were good.
I can't find anything.
The fighting scene was
like the
awesome.
Yeah, I will say that the fight with Rey
And Kylo.
was excellent. I
Yeah.
really did like that.
That was pretty
but
That's kind of what I
But it
wanted.
seriously went nowhere. And even with that, it went nowhere.
Yeah, I had really strong hope for them. I was like, ooh, okay, this might go somewhere. Oh, okay, never
Yeah.
mind.
No, it went nowhere.
Yeah.
Fast.
Yeah.
Faster than Fast and Furious. Okay, I think Disney is going to, this is me personally, I think Disney is going to focus a lot of their time on the Disney stream, and maybe with that to compete with Netflix. But I really think that they have a winner here because they can put these shows on there. There's going to be more about, with Rogue One, prior to Rogue One. We're going to see a lot of that. We're going to see, the Mandalorian episodes. We're going to see all kinds of different things as far as Star Wars. And hopefully we're going to see the Old Republic in that.
Oh my God.
Yeah, we talk about that a lot.
Yes, I'm
Old
hoping.
Republic would be
yeah.
so great.
And with the guys from the Game of Thrones doing it, it's got to be something like that.
Yeah.
Oh man.
These guys know how to bring out, how to go back in the
Characters.
past and really captivate. So
That's gonna be so good. When's that gonna like start?
I'm not sure. I don't have anything yet. It hasn't. Disney hasn't gone live with that, But if Netflix loses a lot of the Disney stuff, I might go to that. But I want to see Stranger Things, so it's kind of.
Oh, yeah. I never watched the second season.
Oh, it's
Right.
so good. It
Is it?
really is
Yeah.
good.
It is.
All right, so what they're saying is Star Wars Episode 9 will be released in December 2019.
Oh,
Can you believe we're talking about 2019?
Yeah.
such a weird number. I feel like. And then 2020 is next year.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
And that sounds even weirder. Yeah,
That
it
sounds
does.
even weirder. I'm like,
Yeah.
Well, I remember when we were, partying like it was 1999.
that was 2019.
No.
And now we're, 19 years after that?
Yeah.
I remember it was kind of funny. I was watching on the History Channel. They were talking about the Aztec calendar, when it ran out and stuff
Oh.
was going to happen and all this, and then nothing happened. And all of a sudden, ancient aliens went to something else.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, that's true. That shows you like a 180.
Yeah, you're like, we better change that.
Yeah. Fix it while you can.
Exactly. Here is an interesting thing. Keisha Castle Hughes, I hope I said her name right, Hughes, was in the movie The Nativity. She was also in there with Oscar Isaac, and that was the first time I've ever seen Oscar Isaac act.
Oh,
And
okay.
I really, really love this movie. So I looked up what else she was in. And so it was really interesting. Her very first movie, and I believe she got an Oscar nomination for it, was for Whale Rider. It was
I haven't seen that movie.
it was in 2005, I believe it was, and she played Pi K Pa Apriliana, and then she ended up playing Queen Apriliana in the Star Wars Episode 3 at the end of the movie. You know how how the Queen is walking behind.
This movie? Well,
Yes,
Rider?
but
I
she
remember
is.
that picture, but not the movie.
Yeah, she is walking behind Padme.
Oh, for like her
The
funeral?
queen that's
Oh,
walking
oh.
behind it,
Oh.
that's actually her.
Oh,
And I thought that was kind of cool that the name was really close. Apriliana, I think that's Apriliana. That's what it sounds like. And they use the same name, Apeliana,
Oh,
Queen
that's cool.
Apeliana. They used almost the same name as what was used in Whale Rider.
well, that's cool.
Oh,
Yeah, so I
okay.
thought that was kind of
Fun fact.
cool. That's a fun fact.
I'm
The
looking-
more you know.
Yes. Okay, so I also found that, and I posted it on Radio Geonosis.
Sorry.
Yes, exactly.
Oh, I see.
I posted it on Radio Geonosis. Star Wars original trailer from 1976 was restored. And I posted that on our page.
You did?
Yes, it is really, you know what? Watching that made me get excited all over again. I could see how people were just
Lost their
flocking
mind.
to
Lost
the
their
movie
mind.
theaters
My
to
mom
see
didn't
that.
like it, surprisingly.
What?
Yeah, my mom sucks.
Okay, we don't like her.
She's like, she was too much hype for me back then.
But
I
you
was
have
like,
to look
what?
on Facebook and look at it.
You know what? Yeah, not
My
that I
mom
say I
was-
could see where your mom say that, but like sitting at home and seeing that trailer probably was crazy as.
Yeah, once you see it on, I posted it on our page. So once you see that, you're like, that's really cool the way they restored it and the way that it looks.
My mom
Yeah.
liked Star Trek. That was her thing.
Oh,
okay.
she's a
Now it's
sci-fi.
It's like,
That's a super sci-fi.
Yeah, that's very
Yeah.
that's very
Like,
scientific and sci-fi.
that's her. It's like, it makes more sense. I'm like, you don't make sense.
How does it make more sense? None of it's real.
That's what I'm
the
saying.
political side of Star Trek.
Oh yeah,
does.
maybe.
Probably. She likes stuff
Maybe.
like that.
Maybe, and that's just a stretch.
She likes political shows like House of
Yeah,
Cards. and all
Oh
that.
yeah,
Like,
well there you
It
go.
all makes sense.
There you
now.
go.
Can't watch that. I cringe the whole time. Like,
No.
Now here's a fun fact about Star Trek.
way.
When they did the original trailer, the original one for the show, you know the only character that was used on the original trailer that ended up on the show? You know who it was?
Was it
Spock.
Patrick? Oh, okay. I thought
Spock.
it was
Okay,
Patrick
he's OG.
Stewart.
No, Aaron,
Okay.
that goes farther back.
Oh, okay.
We're talking about 19 what? 65,
Oh.
67. I
I'm
don't
gonna
think
say
Is
Patrick
that what
Stewart.
Star Trek? That's when Star Trek aired.
Yeah, somewhere in that neighborhood.
wow.
so
Yeah.
yeah, my mom must have been like 8 years old, and maybe that's why. 'Cause she grew up with that.
She grew up with that.
I
yeah,
grew up
yeah.
with that too. You know, I was a
Yeah.
kid during that time. I just aged myself. That's horrible.
Yeah, my mom has been 8.
And then Star Wars.
I'm young in the heart.
Yeah.
But but I did watch that show as a kid. But I am more towards Star Wars because I think I'm more of a romanticist. I like that part.
Oh yeah.
Star Trek, you know, there was only there was only scientific ladies, and you know any kind of romance was just really strange.
Dumbed down. It was weird.
Yeah, I think it was more, you know, they did have some romance in some of the episodes, but it was really kind of a strange kind of, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't like what you feel with Star Wars,
Yeah.
where brother and sister are kissing.
True.
Then you go and mention that.
I know.
No. Star Trek is just strange. Period.
Yeah, it is strange,
I
but
like the new movie that came out.
Yeah, the
except
Star
for
Trek
the
movies
other
are-
one.
I do too.
The latest one was kind of
yes,
Because
But I
they
just like the main actor.
Chris Pine.
Chris
See,
Pine.
that's the blonde one, right?
Yes. Oh man, someone's looking for
Okay.
me. Dang it.
What is that? Is that a tiger?
No, that's a motorcycle rabbit.
Oh, okay. I was like, what?
Is that right?
That's my ringtone. Now, remember, I changed it because you were freaked out by the last one.
Well, yeah, you know, it was that the alien.
Yeah, it was an
extraterrestrial.
alien. Yes, it was. Woo! So Aaron was really bothered by that, so I put on the motorcycle one.
When you hear it, you just get spooked a little bit.
You're by yourself. You're
Yeah, like
I'm
watching
too scared
Krampus.
for
I
this.
haven't even done that yet.
Watching X-Files here by yourself.
Yes, you're
yeah,
like, oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Shouldn't have eaten
You know,
brownie.
1 year I watched Twilight Zone, and
Oh.
this was years back. I watched Twilight Zone because they did a 24-hour marathon of it on, I think it was Channel 11, Channel 13, something like that. And after a while, you start getting really freaked out by it.
Yeah.
Because
True.
there's some strange stuff that goes on those shows. And I'm like, I can't watch this anymore. But it was
Black
going
Mirror
on New Year's Eve.
Black Mirror. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, it was really, really
Black
weird.
Mirror. It got to the point where I couldn't watch it by myself anymore. And a movie that just came out, I'm not gonna watch it by myself.
I heard it was interactive. You have to check. I heard it was interactive, like an interactive movie. I don't know.
Wow.
Ooh,
I'm gonna see. Yeah,
interactive. What?
That's what I heard. That's what I heard. It was like an interactive movie. You get
No
to
way,
choose.
man. That's freaky.
That is freaky.
Yeah.
How's
Big
that?
time.
I don't, no, I don't want to do that. I watched a show.
I'm gonna go home and watch it.
Yeah.
I'll get back to you guys. I'll
Yeah.
text you.
You end up in the
Yeah.
TV like The Ring.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Oh god. That won't be back next.
All right, Aaron. So we're doing the top 10. I'm going to let you go first.
My top 10 favorite things
Yeah.
about
Star Wars, anything.
Could the games just count as just one?
Everything.
Okay. Well, for me, one would be the games, obviously, because growing up I played a lot of video games, and the Star Wars games to me are not all of them
Gordon Merrick.
yeah, we all know how I feel, but not all of them.
There's
are
a
good.
bromance there.
Not all of them are good, but the ones I've definitely played, like I've enjoyed them a lot.
Old Republic and all those.
Yeah, absolutely. So the games to me were like some of just my favorite thing about, other than Star Wars itself being a movie franchise, the games. But other than the games, like the Millennium Falcon, the X-wing, like those ships, you know what I mean? Those ships are
good.
really, really. As a kid, those are what you think like a space jet or plane would be, and they brought it to the big screen.
Corvette, the Hammerhead Corvette.
Yeah, and the costumes, the Star Wars costumes. Angie has that book. And you get to really see like the detail and stuff like that. And who doesn't want to dress
I know.
like
I
that?
wish I
You
was
know,
more
the way that. Yeah. You kind of wish it was.
I
You know what I
wish it
mean?
said just t-shirt.
Yeah,
jacket,
just
like,
that's
I wish
how
I
they
looked like
dress.
Queen Amidala.
Yeah. You know what I mean?
Every day.
Yeah. So it would be the costumes, the culture of Star Wars, the Star Wars culture, as a whole would be one of them. The characters, of course, obviously. My favorite character from the Star Wars universe is Luke Skywalker. So without Star Wars, there wouldn't be any Luke Skywalker. Episode 3, because I love that movie a lot. And
I
so
cry every time I see it.
I really like it. I was just watching it the other day. I really like Episode 3 a lot.
Tears at your heart.
And I like
Really?
Kylo Ren a lot. For some reason,
Yeah.
I just like Kylo Ren a lot. I really think Kylo Ren is dope.
He's
But like,
an
He's a-
emotional
he's-
mess, but
he's technically like a rip off of Vader, yeah, like technically.
like his
in
grandpa.
well, that's
hindsight.
his grandfather. That's why.
But like I just like how it was done. I like the character Kylo Ren. I like how he's done because he is how I would think Han Solo and Han Solo's son, and also Darth Vader's grandson possibly would act. Kind of like a spoiled bratty, lost kind of guy, and that's exactly what he kind of is essentially. you know.
Yeah.
But his mom being like this lady who fights for millions of people, and he has to battle with that too as well. So like, I just like Kylo Ren. I just like his character. And,
He was a scoundrel like his dad.
yeah, yeah, really, honestly. And to round it up, I mean, yeah, I think that's and robots. Cause looking at that, robots.
Oh yeah, the robots are.
The robots are.
That was
are
always
dope.
like my
Oh, the
favorite.
droid,
too.
you mean?
Yeah, I want a droid like backpack. Like you know what I mean? Like how they have like just
Yeah.
their own droid with them. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I really, really want that. So that would like round up my Star Wars top.
Yes.
Yeah.
All right, Emma, I'm gonna let you go next.
Okay, mine would probably be definitely in the costumes, for sure. Like when I was little, her dresses were my favorite thing. I had one of her dresses my brother made for me when I was 5 for Halloween. You know, with the like orbs on the side.
Yes.
My brother made that for me. Like he's super
Oh,
creative.
wow.
But I'm not. Like, he made my costumes for like my Legend of Zelda costumes and that one. So it'd be costumes, probably just the backstory, like all the books. I've been reading the books for a couple years now, and they're so good. Like I wish they would bring that onto the screen, or like if the Disney, what is it called they're doing now? The TV show thing they're doing.
Disney
Like the
XD?
Mandalorian.
Oh, the Mandalorian.
Yeah. Oh my God, that's gonna be good. Mandalorian. I just think all the books at some point. I know they got rid of that, right? The EU though.
Well, they're now considered extended universe, and not. They're picking and choosing, I think, to bring back certain things. Because
Yeah.
I had read something the other day. I read it about something about the Empire or something or other. I have to look, but it was. They're talking about bringing that part back. Does it count? Does it not
Yeah, 'cause
count?
I heard they're doing like, okay, this isn't, but that.
Shadow
is,
of
that
the
isn't.
Empire. That's what they were
Oh,
talking
is it?
about. Yeah.
Okay.
Oh wow.
'Cause it's
They keep
now,
doing
yeah.
that a lot, like picking and choosing.
Yeah.
Now I'm like confused. I'm like, well, what's what now?
Well, I think I don't want to talk bad about anybody, but I think the lady who was running Star Wars right now, she wanted to get rid of, and I'm not sure if that's true or not. Takes things out, but there's a lot of meat and potato in these stories that add to what Star Wars is.
Yeah.
So I think that's why they're deciding to bring some back.
Yeah.
You can't just wipe out 40 years of history. You just
No,
cannot
you
do
can't.
that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And start from scratch.
Makes
Or get rid of 4, 5, and 6, because that makes absolutely no sense.
Yeah.
Yeah, agreed. So definitely be the books, costumes. What else? Probably the cities and the planets. All the planets
yeah.
were so
Oh, yeah.
unique.
Yeah.
Like that whole everything about it was just imagination for me as a kid. Was just seeing that and Tatooine, that planet would just looked awful. It reminded me of here. I was like, I live there. It's just like
Well,
here.
Geonosis is the same thing.
Yeah, it's just and then just the planets were so crazy to me, and the robots, like you said,
Yeah.
robots. Like I remember the first one I really liked was that fighting scene. Like those tanks came in and they dropped off the other
Oh
robots.
yeah.
To me, that was like that's so
Yeah.
tight.
Are you talking about in the games?
In the games and in episode 1.
In episode 1.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, when they dropped them off like in the forest field thing and then the bubble when they just like walked in. I was
Yeah,
like, why
yeah,
can't we do that?
Yeah.
Like, I was asking my brother because he's in the Marines. I was like, why can't we do that? He's like, it doesn't work like that. I'm like, come on.
It doesn't work.
No, it doesn't
like
work like that.
I was fine. I was trying to make moves in the military. And then what else? Definitely character development. Like each character had so much like emotions or just trauma that I really liked. Like some movies, I feel like they don't do enough background with characters, and Star Wars really did that. I think with characters, and then of course the fights, the lightsaber fights.
Yep.
And probably the other ones like the holocrons. I wish they would show that in movies at some point. Do you think they ever would?
Holocrons?
They may. I know they did in the games, correct?
Yeah, for sure.
They
Yeah.
spent, they were able to focus in on that. So maybe.
That'd be cool if they did. Cause I would
Yeah,
like to see one like.
That's actually like a really that would be really dope.
We
That
need
would
to
be-
do a show on that. Just focus on the holocrons and what they're about, and the dark side and even the light. That would be cool.
Yeah,
we
well,
need to do that.
Yeah.
And then I think my favorite thing though is the Sith. for sure.
As we know.
Those are my favorite. Like, Darth Maul started that out for me.
Yeah.
And all the toys, like, I had a huge collection when I was little. And I think my mom got rid of most of it, which really sucks.
Yeah, I still have a
sucks.
huge collection.
Yeah, my mom, like, just threw away half of everything.
Oh, my
Every time we
God.
moved, she would throw away, like, most of my toys. And then, like, I would just keep them
no.
because I knew Star Wars was going to be worth a lot of money one day.
Yeah.
Nope, not her. She threw away all my Disney VHS tapes, everything. And that's worth a lot of money now.
Yeah, nowadays, yeah. Big
I have
time.
a lot of them. I have a lot of my Disney VHS in the they're not the ones that get locked away in the vault kind of things, but they were in the original packages and everything. I
Okay.
still have that. I
Yeah, those are
have
good.
I got for Christmas in the White Bantha thing was the very first episode 1, and it's in its own case, and it has a movie thing with it, and it has a book, a little
that's dope.
booklet with it. I'll have to bring it so you can see
Star Wars
that.
definitely, they hook it up. Like,
Yeah.
they have packages like none other. Like
Yeah.
yeah.
I
for
agree
sure.
with you. I agree with you. All right, Emma Zapp.
Yep.
Okay.
That was our thing.
All right,
Like,
so
that's it. This
that was
is
legit.
I love
That was
both of
legit time.
those. I love both of those.
That was
Aaron, you covered a lot, and I'm kind of ashamed that I didn't even think of those things.
It's okay.
You know,
I'm
but
pretty
I-
sure you thought of something.
Oh, well, you know what? I was going through all the things
Yeah.
that happened this year, and what I was really excited about, you know, because some of these things happened to me that have never happened in my entire life. So, you know, I was thinking of that. But you're right about the costumes. You're right about Emma's right about, you know, the character development, and you're right about, you know, the specific characters and
Yeah.
and what goes on with them and what made you love the movies, because I love the movies as well. 1, 2, and 3. I watched with my granddaughter 1, 2, and 3, and then when she left, I was still watching Rogue One. My husband said he doesn't really like it, but I think the movie is so good. The music is excellent,
Yeah.
and I just love it. Okay, so for my top 10, number 1 was WonderCon show. It was my first time doing a con show. I have never done a convention show, and it was my first time doing it, and I was so nervous, and I hit every single thing, and I was so happy. Because I've gone to a couple shows and messed up because I'm so nervous. Number 2 was doing this podcast. I have a really hard time talking out loud. You know, in the restaurant, it's not a big deal. At first it was, but, you know, just to be able to talk and do this, I was so nervous the very first time I did it. And I stutter when I get really nervous, so this has really been a big thing for
Oh,
me.
you guys.
I stutter so bad. Like, especially
Yeah.
in interviews, when people interview me, I'm like,
Yeah, you stutter because you don't know. Also, becoming part of Rebel Legion this year. I did it in March. It was something I've been wanting to do since 2015 when I first walked up to the booth. And so it was really moving to me to do it, and then to be able to work that booth this March at WonderCon.
That's awesome.
Yeah, this past year. We're going to be doing it again. Number 4 was becoming part of Sith Dynasty. I was part of another Sith group, and unfortunately that group imploded.
That
and
just recently happened, didn't it?
Yes, yes. So I'm very excited about that. Number 5 was learning to sew, because I do not know how to do that, and I'm starting to work on a Barris Ophi costume, and I want to get this approved, and I was so excited about doing that. Number 6 was going back to Comic-Con. I was elated. I think I cried when I went in the door, because that's how crazy. It is very,
It's
very
fun.
difficult to
Oh, man,
get
it's so fun.
tickets, and when I went to get my pass, I think I cried, and I don't know if anybody saw me, but
You cried. Yeah, you were gonna cry though. Huh?
but I was crying. It was really a lot. I mean, I had an absolute wonderful time, and I was so glad that happened. Marching twice, not once, but twice, number 7, was marching in the Star Wars Disney fan parade at
Oh, that was
Disneyland.
cool.
I did it twice, and I was this is something that never happened to me before, so I was really, really excited. Number 8 was doing 2 speaking parts. I did 2 different shows with speaking parts. One was just recorded, and the other one I did by myself.
Recorded.
Yeah, one was recorded. Where when we do shows, the music and the voices are recorded. So we just like lip sync to it.
Yeah.
So I did that one, and they said if you get tangled up with the words, just keep saying grapefruit. You know, kind of lip syncing grapefruit, because then it looks like you're saying something.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Grapefruit.
I've never heard of that.
So when you're doing if you're doing a music video, just say grapefruit.
Like, is he saying grapefruit?
And the second one I actually did all by myself, so it was really good. The Legoland event, I have always loved that, and I was glad I got to do it this year. Unfortunately, Disney has pulled the plug on that, so this past year was the last year.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I did it 3 years in a row, and it was wonderful. And then also being part of being able to do events with 2 different temples. I did events, and I'm still going to do some. I'm doing one I'm going to be doing an event on the 10th, I believe, with Skywalker, and then I'm going to do some more with the Outer Rim. But I was able to do events with those 2 temples, which was really, really wonderful. And number 11, because this is my last one, because I'm sorry I'm taking up all this time, marching in the Hollywood Parade was beyond fun, and I never thought that something like that would happen to me.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it was really cool. It was really cool to see myself on TV as well.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I remember when you were posting about that, I was like, what?
Yes.
Like, I would show all my friends. I think I even showed my mom. I was like, why can't you be like this? I was like, why can't you do this with me on your day?
Oh, I don't
like,
know.
I'm Star Trek. I'm like, whatever.
Star Trek.
She goes back to Star Trek. I've regressed.
Do you have a screenshot
digressed.
from when you were on TV? Do you have a screenshot?
Do I have a screenshot of it? No, but I do have. Oh, you know what? I think I do.
You did. I thought.
Yeah, I think I posted it. I'll look.
Okay,
I'll look
okay.
in a minute. Yeah.
Yeah, I want to check that. I don't know if I saw it or not.
Yeah.
I think I've seen it on your.
Yeah, I think I put it on Facebook and Instagram.
What about as far as like the movies go?
I love all of them except for one.
You don't have to bring that up.
Yeah, I mean,
The hatred is real.
the hatred is real. I mean,
The passion behind it is real.
See, the Sith is coming out in you.
Yes,
Yeah,
it is.
see, it's just pouring out. The sea
Don't worry, I'll
I
take
just
over.
don't like it because it just had like it was just not.
Yeah.
It just didn't flow.
I saw it with 9 of my friends, and they're all big Star Wars. Like they read.
Oh, you guys just took the whole row at the theaters?
Yeah, we did. Honestly, we were there on the opening night. We got tickets 4 months in advance.
Mm-hmm.
We were just sitting there and just looking at each other with hatred, just like.
I can see the red aura around both of you right now.
Yes, you know, one Snoke was dead. We don't even know where he came from, how he got into power.
I
Nothing.
know Snoke and Rey. That's all I cared about.
Yeah, there was really nothing.
And
You
I
know.
had one girl, the one with the sister.
Oh, who passed away
Yeah,
in the beginning?
Rose.
Rose.
A lot of people didn't like that.
Purple-haired girl.
Oh, yeah. Who was
Oh,
the
that's
captain?
General. That's
Yeah.
the General,
I
and
didn't,
you know.
I didn't like her. I feel like they just made her like a political thing to make for the new feminists or girls to like look up to in the movie. I was like, don't bring that into this.
This is we're too deep right now.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's already too deep.
Yeah, we're just too deep. Yeah.
Yeah, I just the way the movie was, I didn't like the way it flowed. I really, you know, even Yoda looked like he was like what he was on the planet, you know, when he was goofy and he didn't answer any questions at first because he didn't want Luke Skywalker to see when he was on Dagobah. He didn't want Luke Skywalker to see who he really was.
Yeah.
And I think he went back to that. He reverted back. It made the Jedi look like it was just nothing. It was a waste of time, and I really hate that.
And the books, how they brought in the only paper ever shown in Star Wars universe, the only paper and books ever. It just blew up.
Yeah.
No, Rey's got him.
Oh, she did?
She got him because if you watch she didn't even watch that part.
No,
Because
I
Rey went to grab something, she opens the cabinet thing, and you can see the books inside there.
Oh, okay, yeah. I haven't seen it in
But
a couple years.
so then it kind of lays to rest. Okay, so what happened with the holocrons? Because a lot of that information was on the holocrons.
Yeah.
So where'd these freaking books come from?
Yeah.
That's what I want to know. Like, why did they add books all of a sudden?
I think with that movie, just more questions than answers.
Yeah.
You know, you don't want to leave the theater like that. You know, no one wants to leave
We went back
the
and saw it
theater
5
like that.
other times, me and my friends, and
Yeah.
every time we still walked out with more questions.
Yeah, you don't want to. You
Notice
don't
other stuff.
unless it's Inception. You don't want to feel that way. You know.
No.
Inception was made for you to ask questions, but with
Right.
Star Wars, you kind of want it.
Well, the Matrix was
Correct.
too.
Yeah, and they came back with another 2 to kind of answer them, I guess. But with Star Wars, you kind of just want, like Angie said, like hope was missing from it. So
Yes.
the lack of there being any hope involved in the movie or throughout the movie, like
And we waited 2 years,
yeah,
which
for no answers,
for no answers.
Yeah.
because now 9 has to come out and kind of
Clean up the mess.
Kind of have to clean up the mess that.
They're under the rug.
Yeah, and then and the thing about that is you guys could hate 9 too because they could not do that. If they
No,
want to. You know what I
J.J.
mean? Like,
Abrams, he's going to.
Yeah.
Okay, so The
They could
Force
not do it.
Awakens.
They could not do it.
The Force Awakens. A lot of people at first they weren't too warm to it.
Mm-hmm.
But if the more you watch it, the more you see how good this movie really, really is,
Yeah.
and how these characters are introduced, and how you're like, I really love these characters.
Yeah.
You know, it's
Yeah.
the way he did it. JJ is not going to disappoint. I really don't think so.
Yeah.
He's even done Star Trek.
Yeah,
So
True.
you know, and
True.
he
he's usually really good. That's why I was kind of like disappointed. Like, how did he? Like, what happened, man?
no he didn't do The Last Jedi. That was
Right.
Ryan Johnson,
Oh, it was Ryan Johnson.
who
But
now
J.J. Abrams
and let me
was
just
he
say,
was lingering
whose
around
projects
stuff,
are
but he was
now
definitely,
what
like, you know,
shelved.
yeah. He was definitely like there though with some, you know.
Yeah,
he
he
wa-
was at least on set.
Oh yeah, he was on set for sure.
You know, everyone
sure.
talks about the beautiful cinematography of the movie, but yet I didn't see anything good. And I mean, to make Princess Leia go out the window
Oh my god.
and then come back, that did not.
So dope to me.
That's so whack.
That was so dope. I was just you know what?
What
I just
Jedi
never
has
seen it do
ever
it.
done that?
I've never seen her do anything that has to do with anything with the.
No,
Force. I
and
saw
for
that, I
her to
was
do
like,
it like that, really?
It's dope. It's
Me and
dope.
all my friends literally just were so silent and just all looked at each other like, what the fuck? And then like the guy in front of me was like, the fuck is going on? Like, nah, like we were
That
just
was
sitting
dope.
awestruck because we thought it was so like Mary Poppins and
Oh,
I just
God.
didn't like that. I
know,
mean, I didn't
cheesy.
like it. And, you know, she has so much potential, but yet they
Yeah.
used none of it. And
she
now
has
it's
way
too
more
late.
potential than just that.
And now it's too
I
late.
feel like that's like,
Yeah.
You know, we could have there could have been so much more with her. They could have really done so much more with her, and yet nothing. It just seemed like there was just too much going on with too many stories, and you know what I mean? And there was just it was just a mucky muck. I really did not like it.
Mucky.
A monkey muck of you know, just a lot going on. A lot of people do like it, and I mean, you know, God bless them for that. But I just, but for me, no.
I'm just praying for anyone who likes episode 8. Like, I just didn't, you know, again, like
I didn't mean it to be.
definitely-
I meant it to be top 10 in the show, not a bash.
Again, the hatred is like seeping
It's real.
through.
oh, you should hear my other friends. They'll get
But
deep
it's
into it.
not the
Yeah.
we're not the only ones. The
I
Han Solo
understand.
movie I thought was good,
Yeah,
but yet people didn't go see it because the other movie left a bad taste in their
yeah,
mouth.
and I understand though too though. You know, I definitely see both. I definitely see it from people who do like the movie or who could tolerate it, and then people who don't.
And you just said tolerate it.
Because there's some
Tolerate
I think that's where I am at with it.
That's
I
what
think
I'm at.
I tolerate it.
Oh my gosh, I've watched it maybe a total of 5 times. I can't stand it.
I just tolerate
And
it.
it still
as,
confuses me.
You know,
I
as-
hate it, but I tolerate to watch it because I thought it would answer questions. The more time I went to the theater,
It doesn't.
And every time, more questions.
unless
We're
their
like,
plan was to like, you know, episode 7 was dope, introducing the characters. We all got attached to the characters in episode 8.
There was a lot of
It's just,
quirkiness to
You
it
know,
too.
and
As far as
they might be using 9 to like reel everything. Maybe
he's gonna fix it. He has to fix the broken
He
wagon.
better.
He better.
Oh, God.
No, I think he's
There's
gonna be
threats
fine.
and-
I think he's gonna be fine. I think he's gonna fix the broken wagon. Let me tell you.
She wrote this letter really strong. Tell you.
Strongly worded, all caps.
She broke her pencil twice.
See that?
I mean, this is
Pencil. It down all the way.
an aggressive letter.
Okay.
Tolerate it. I just tolerate it.
I'm gonna have to watch it again. I'm halfway through. You know, I was going
The
through.
Riddler. No, the Riddler strikes again. This magazine just cut out stuff like.
Oh my gosh, man!
With the glitter that popped
Yeah,
out.
there you go.
It's obvious that Disney feels very strongly about J.J. Abrams because they brought him back to do it.
Yeah.
They didn't get somebody else.
Mm-hmm.
They brought him back to finish out 1, 2. Their 1, 2, and 3.
Yeah.
It's like I think someone said that the Harry Potter movie number 4 was just fine.
Was just fine.
It was just fine, and so we can leave it at that. It was just fine. I'm not sure if it was Goblet of Fire or one of them was just okay. So there's a couple of
I
them
like
that
the
are
first
just
Harry
okay.
Potter.
Oh, yeah, I did too.
The first one. Not saying the other ones are like suck, but I just like the first one.
Okay, so it's okay for you to say this.
Forgive me, but yeah.
but that's what I'm saying is, sometimes when you have too many directors, there's too many hands in the cookie jar.
Yeah.
And there's just too much.
Director want to do their own thing in a way.
Exactly.
Yeah,
And I think
sure.
the same thing was to be said about Twilight. Because the first one was with my very favorite director. She did that one. She did Lords of Dogtown, and then she did
My dad knew those guys.
Yeah, and then she did what was it, Little Red Riding Hood, and she did the movie 13. So God, I can't think of her. Kathleen, I gotta think of her name right now, but she did Twilight, and I love the way she captured that. She picked those characters. She handpicked the characters for Twilight, and I think when you do that, when you start getting too many directors, because in New Moon was good, but then you go past that, and the movies were not as good.
I just didn't like what's her face, the main actress.
Oh, Kristen Stewart.
Yeah, that's her name, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't like her.
So I think there was just too many, and I think the same thing can be said about Star Wars. They should have left it with J.J. Abrams and let him finish the 3.
Yeah, I would have been happy if only he did it.
Yeah,
I
me
had
too.
Faith in it.
Yeah, because I have faith that he would have done great with number 2 and number 3.
Mm-hmm.
And I really
Star
think,
Trek.
like I said,
Yeah, Star Trek is good.
we're not going to be disappointed. I think
Hardwick.
Catherine Hardwick. Yes, and it's going to go out with a bang. I honestly think that. I think there are some directors that really know how to capture what's going on.
Yeah,
and
for sure.
Hardwick knew how to capture that with Twilight, and then also, J.J. Abrams with Star Wars. I think like you said, sometimes it takes someone who is a comic book fan and has done reading on these things to know how to capture it.
Yeah, because it's more like a passion project for them,
Right.
instead of just like a job.
Right.
Especially like when it comes with directing.
Right.
That
to the list.
and exactly. And directors being stubborn, because when you're a director, you're stubborn. Like everything is your way. You understand?
Well, what is really specific about this was that J.J. Abrams helped write it and then he directed it, just
Yeah.
like George did.
Yeah, exactly.
And so,
exactly.
this is what Ryan did, but I have to wonder, did he even read any Star Wars movie books or anything to get that captured feeling? That's, I don't know how big of a fan he was.
Yeah.
Or if he was a fan at all.
And J.J. Abrams is a fan.
Exactly.
So when he did it, when he got his opportunity, it was a passion project for him. He probably
Right.
wanted to make this movie from when he was like 8 years old.
Right,
Yeah.
and so now you see
approaches
Ray.
it different.
Right, you see all these characters that have come to fruition, and they're great.
Yeah, yeah, and then so it's kind of like and basically what Ryan did basically was like pick up JJ's character, so he doesn't know the characters like
Exactly.
Yeah.
JJ does. You know what I mean? So that's why I see 8 as far as like out of 7 and 8 being like the adventure movie.
The egg salad
You know
sandwich.
what I mean? I just see it being as a movie with the most activity as far as like action wise. You know what I mean? Like 7, of course, was the introduction. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But this was just let me just put them in like really messed up situations. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah, it was really messed
I think
up.
that's what he did because they're not his characters. So it's kind of like, how could you really understand? They're not your characters to begin with. It's like
Yeah.
someone give it like, yeah, I used to this 5-bedroom house. Like it's just different how someone explains it how he took it.
Yeah, he took it somewhere.
Yeah, he like rented it basically. Just rented his characters.
Exactly.
He just rented it. You know what I mean?
Yes.
That's basically what he did.
Yes. All right. Well, that's going to do it for us today. Next week, let's do some holocrons.
All right.
All right, you can do a Sith holocron. You can do, we can do like the dimensions of it, where they came from. We'll give you a little bit of background on it. I'm sure some people know, but we'll just do it for fun, and, sometimes you can find fun facts about that.
Yeah.
So what you can find us on?
Twitter, Instagram at Radio Geonosis. Follow Mad Studios, and make sure you guys subscribe to us on YouTube. So
yes, please like and subscribe on YouTube. You can also follow us on Facebook at Radio Geonosis 2.0.
Yes.
So please like and subscribe on YouTube so we can get that URL.
Yes, please.
So from all of us here at Radio Geonosis, we'll see you next time.
Later, guys.
Bye.